Hello and welcome to another episode of Leading with Women by EgoMonk. Joining us today is Vasudha Agarwal. She has been with InMobi since 2012 and can be credited for its immense growth in domestic as well as global markets. Currently the Senior Vice President and Managing Director for Asia Pacific at InMobi, Vasudha has led business functions such as revenue, international partnerships and sales. Frequently listed as India's most influential women in media and marketing, she is a champion of workplace equality and diversity. Hello Vasudha, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi Rahi, it's great to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Of course, just to set context for our viewers, InMobi was the first unicorn in India. How does it feel to lead a unicorn as a young female executive in India?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to be called young, so thank you for that. Otherwise, I think it's a great time to be a part of this journey. The digital ecosystem is so dynamic and in such a hyper growth mode right now. And being a part of that journey and actually seeing the whole thing from the start, I think it's very exciting. I think it's a huge learning experience as well, right? Because this ecosystem continuously evolves. So there is always this need to, keep adapting, keep learning, and moving forward. So it's been great in that way. And I'm really excited for what lies ahead. I think there is no time like today to be a part of this ecosystem and to be a woman and really make yourself heard. So really excited to be part of this journey.
But in this journey, there is so much to unpack, and as you said, it's so dynamic and things are moving so fast. There are new goals almost every day. In this, how do you approach culture building at InMobi? What is your leadership style?
So, culture is something that we treat as very, very important as a part of almost our daily lives at InMobi. I think we try to build a culture so that people actually think of the workplace as an extension of their homes. And I think culture is all about shared values, right? Values around, for example, we have around being bold and entrepreneurial, around making things happen, around being obsessed with your customer, right? Inspiring people and not managing them. So these are some of our shared values as an organization, and I think it's been good to be part of that culture, be part of that culture building from the very start, since I've been here for almost 9 years now. I think in terms of leadership, I believe in leading by example. I think it's very important to build trust with the people that you work with, whether it's your peers, whether it's your managers, whether it's the people in your team. I think it's all about building trust, and I think that comes from being consistent, right? Being doing what you say, in delivering what you commit to, in being transparent in your communication. So I think all of these aspects are very important to build trust. And to me, leadership is all about building that trust, leading by example, and also enabling and building the next set of leaders in the team, right? Because as a leader, I do see that as a core part of my role, that how do I enable others on their leadership journey.
Talking about your role, InMobi has been a leader in its field. As somebody who has been in the technical field and in advertising and especially something which is being so talked about right now, what are some emerging technologies that you are most excited by, and what are some technological developments on the flip side which you're also the most worried about?
See, I think, just the explosion on the digital and especially the mobile side that we've seen in the last few years by virtue of 4G penetration in India, by virtue of smartphones becoming affordable, that has led to a lot of very interesting technologies emerging, and especially with mobile at the forefront. So I think, for example, anything around fintech that's happening in the country, to enable a financial inclusion for people, to enable digital identity for people, is really great, right? Because it extends the facilities around finance, right from loans to credit to banking, to people beyond the urban areas. Similarly, I think, especially in the last 12 to 18 months, because of COVID, there is a wave of edutech and health tech which has really exploded. And again, I think that's great because it really democratizes access to technology for people beyond, again, cities. So I think these are technologies which are really, great from the aspect of, bringing the next set of you can say billion users in the country into these kind of services. I think in terms of concern, I mean, too much of something is always bad, right? And I think, especially with mobile, I would say too much screen time, and especially I think for kids, is not something that is something, at least as parents, we should be worried about. And I think, yeah, especially I think the time spent sometimes on social media can be excessive for kids and so on. So that's possibly an area of concern and something to think about.
I would like to talk to you more about the concerns, but before that, you did talk about digital penetration in India. India, we know, has a huge market, but then apart from India, there are so many other hotspots globally. So, could you just elaborate on some of them?
Sure. So I think, from a technology lens, of course, I would say that, some of the emerging powerhouses, right, today are outside of some of the Western markets, right? So, for example, I also look after the larger Asia Pacific region, and Southeast Asia is a huge powerhouse when it comes now to emerging technologies, to the growth of the startup ecosystem, investment from venture capitalists. So I think that's a huge emerging powerhouse, right? Like Southeast Asia. Similarly, we are seeing other markets like Latin America, right, which are showing a lot of growth when it comes to some of these digital and mobile technologies, because you have the next wave of users coming online in some of these markets. So I would call out these more as emerging powerhouses, and then you have
Okay.
established powerhouses already like US and China, where we do see a lot of the next set of technologies around AI and blockchain and really taking off.
Coming back to concerns, except screen time, there are some other more higher levels of concerns which I would like to address. So, for example, ethical advertising. What is your take on that?
See, I think ethical advertising is increasingly important in today's world, right? More so because consumers are so aware these days, right? Consumers and advertising serves as, you can say, the first source of truth for any consumer about a new brand or about their product, right? And if at the first go a consumer feels that brand has not been ethical for any reason, it wipes out the complete brand value, right? So I think with heightened consumer awareness, there is an increasing responsibility on brands. I mean, there should be anyways, but there is an increasing responsibility to make sure you're being extremely careful, extremely ethical about how and what you're advertising. And I think we're seeing examples of that every day, right? Even if there is a small issue that happens with an ad, then customers would be sort of up in arms. There is things go viral, so which does also hurt the brand value and brand perception. So I think on both sides it's very important to have ethical norms in your advertising.
And how do you, what is your take on the current global responses to social media and the war over privacy?
See, I think, the war over the privacy thing has been there for a while. I think, again, it's something which, whether it's users, whether it's governments, they are realizing this now, and more so because in the last couple of years, there have been data leakages, there have been, issues pertaining to user data getting leaked. So I think user privacy is a very important area, and you will hear, and we're already seeing those changes, right, that are happening in the ecosystem. For example, Apple is removing tracking of users in their upcoming software upgrades. You have Google, which has said that next year cookies which were used for tracking users on the web will go away. So everyone is understanding that there is a need to prioritize user privacy. It is important to give users the option to opt in and say whether they want to be tracked, not tracked. And I think the you can say the debates, the discussions that have happened in the last few years are all now culminating to really sort of center around the user, who was always the most important one. But some of these are in the benefit of users, and to give them that option of better privacy on the web and within apps.
So, how are advertisers navigating this?
So advertisers, the way advertisers are going to navigate this is that obviously as any new technology disruption comes in, people think of, how do they want to evolve or change, right? So already if you see, one is advertisers are having to look at, how do they personalize better, right? How do they make sure that when they are reaching out to the user, what they are reaching out to is relevant to the user, so that the user does not feel that something
They're being
which was
spammed.
irrelevant or was sent to me, right? So personalization is a big focus area from advertiser lens. I think second is that people are also looking at how to, instead of trying to get a user's personalized data, right, or very personal information, how do you create more aggregate cohorts, which give you a sense of okay, what could be this segment of users, but not allow you to really pinpoint a user or step into the zone of privacy. So those are measures that advertisers are looking at, and over the course of the next few months, as this ecosystem evolves, you will see more technologies coming around, location based targeting, for example, right, or contextual targeting, which is to say that target people more based on the environment that they are in than based on their individual information. But all of this should definitely benefit the end user.
Okay. So, keeping the consumer in mind always.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, before we started, I already briefed our viewers on the incredible role that you've had since you joined and the multiple areas which you have led on. So, there's so many areas which you had to strategize on: global partnerships, finance, sales, product. So, how do you balance or perhaps optimize your mind space to cycle between the everyday tactical tasks and the emerging strategic shifts?
See, it's a tough balance, right? It's not easy because it's very easy to get swayed and sort of swamped by the day to day. So I think it's a conscious effort that I have to make even today, right? It is not something I would say I have perfected, right? So basically, I mean, the ways to do it is that, I try that on a weekly basis, I'm at least, spending 20-25% of my time on things which are not here and now, but more, medium term or long term, whether it's discussions or meetings around those topics, whether it is, my own strategy and planning around those topics. So I make sure that at least I push myself and actually block time to do that every week. Additionally, what I also try is that every sort of month or every few weeks, take a step back from the day to day and try to see that okay, where are we headed, right? Where we had, if I had set out a goal or a direction for the business a quarter back, are we there? Are we deviating for that? Do we need to course correct, right? So these, you can say, sort of checkpoints on a weekly, monthly, quarterly level is something that helps me to get to that balance. Again, it's a work in progress. It's not something I've perfected, but it's definitely something I try to do.
In your position as a leader and as somebody who has a considerable amount of power, how do you try and pull other women up and help other women also thrive in their professional or maybe their own personal environments?
So I think that's something, possibly I've started thinking about more, I would say recently, right? Because I've had more time and thinking space to do that, right?
Okay.
And I think couple of ways. I think one is, of course, within the organization, we've started a mentorship program for young women, and see how do we support and enable them in their careers. So there is an internal mentorship program that we started recently. I'm also, sort of starting now to participate in external forums where, I can be a mentor to other women who are either at the start of their journeys or, are looking for support and guidance. So I am, starting to do that as well externally, both, through other organizations as well as some of these, institutions which are meant for women, some of these other platforms. Yeah, and I think ultimately it's also important to network with like-minded women across the industry and ecosystem. Women who feel strongly about the cause, who want to contribute to this, who also want to support other women. And I think creating this network of women who would rally behind the cause is also an important aspect. So I'm really looking to see how I can, participate and contribute on all of these fronts.
These are all human-led efforts, and even though you have, as you said, you were recently made aware and you're doing everything which you are going on a journey where you try and help more and more women. But in this, what role do you think technology can play? How do you think technology can be made more inclusive and diverse?
I think that's a great question, Rai, right? And I think especially in today's world when we're talking so much about digitization and smartphone penetration and internet, technology has to absolutely play a role in gender diversity and inclusion of women. And I think it starts from not just women as consumers of technology, right, which is them using more gadgets and devices, but actually being a part of the full journey, right from engineers and scientists and coders and women leading tech ventures themselves. So I think at all parts of the journey, women need to be a part, because when they are part of the journey is when they will create an environment and ecosystem which is more inclusive. So I think anything and any initiative which supports women in technology careers are very important, right? Programs and platforms which are enabling that. I think other roles which are technology can play is, for example, around financial inclusion of women, or for example, some of the technologies which have evolved in the last year to make women more productive when they're working from home, or if they want to do part-time roles, for example, right? How can women participate more in the workforce using technology? So I think all of these advancements in this space are very important. And this is, I mean, technology can play that role of, really providing access to women across the board, right? Because we are no longer in a world where you have to always be in a physical workspace, or it's a job which requires you to be always available physically. I think technology has managed to reduce those barriers, and we should leverage that going forward to really bring more gender diversity and inclusion.